It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
West guys, 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 West guys. These guys know sports. Yeah. These guys know sports. These guys know.
Welcome to Wise Guys. These guys know sports on this Wednesday, August the 19th on the Worldwide Sports Network with my co-host, Mr. Clarence Nixon. What's up, Mr. Nixon?
Hey, how you doing today, man? And you should state me as your Mr. Favorite co-host.
My guy, you my only co-host, man. You my guy. Everybody, remember going to follow Wise Guys on Twitter at WiseGuys_H, also on Facebook, Wise Guys. And be sure to follow Wise Guys on Instagram with These Guys Know Sports. It is Hump Day. Clarence, how's your Wednesday treating you today?
You want to know something? When I was watching that game last night, I was thinking about everything you were saying. Mellow this, mellow that. I'm like, bro, this is bad. So I was going into the next day like, I wonder what Trey gonna come up with today on the show. So I'm very excited to see what's your reaction to everything in these playoffs, man.
We're gonna get to that. Yeah.
You know I'm feeling that today.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that. But we got a lot of topics we're gonna talk about today. We're gonna talk about the New Orleans Pelicans dismissing Alvin Gentry and moving on from him, and they're expected to pursue Ty Lue and Jason Kidd. Also, we're gonna talk about expectations for Burrow's Bengals this year. We talked about it a little bit on the show the other day with our guest, Lawrence Wright. Shout out to Lawrence for coming on the show. We had a nice interview with him on Monday. Also, we're going to talk about here in a bit, Brett Favre. He says that Aaron Rodgers should not feel threatened by Jordan Love. But we begin in the NBA in the bubble in game one of the Western Conference first round series between the Los Angeles Lakers and the Portland Trail Blazers. The Trail Blazers outlasted the Lakers 100-93. Damian Lillard dropped 34 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. CJ McCollum contributed 21 points, 5 rebounds. LBJ had a triple-double, 23 points, 17 rebounds, 16 assists. Anthony Davis, 28 points, 11 rebounds. So, as we open up the show today, Mr. Nixon, you picked the Lakers in 6. I got the Blazers in 7. So, as you watched that game last night, what was your reaction from that game?
Man, first of all, you see Jokic Nurkic had 16 points and 15 rebounds. Big shout out to Jokic Nurkic. He was working the boards last night against Anthony Davis and JaVale McGee. Like, that right there he's one of the biggest X factor on that Portland team. But my reaction to this game was how basically the Lakers the Portland Trailblazers made the Lakers play their game. Like, their biggest strength is shooting the 3, and LA's, that's not their biggest strength. So they forced them into playing their game. And I think they did a really good job of making them shoot a lot of jump shots and a lot of threes because, LA is not a good shooting team in the NBA. And that's like their biggest problem on their team. But for Dame Dollar and them, they executed transition points off the rebounds. Damian Lillard is shooting 30 feet again, another T3. I think they did a good job of slowing down LA's best players. So big shout out to them though. But the war is still on, man. It's only game one.
It's only game one, but I hate to tell you, Mr. Nixon, I told you so. I told you, and I told a lot of LeBron/Laker fans a while ago. I said when the bubble started, if the Portland Trail Blazers make the playoffs, they're going to give LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers nightmares. And I guarantee you, last night, LeBron, Frank Vogel, Anthony Davis, Clarence, they lost some sleep last night when they started trying to think about ways to stop the Portland Trail Blazers and Damian Lillard offensively. They lost some sleep last night. Trust me when I tell you that, because last night, the game was simple for me. As I watched that game, to me, it was simple because the Portland Trailblazers, they started and they finished the game better than Los Angeles Lakers. And that first quarter, Portland, they came out, they were in rhythm, and you could tell they were playing with that intensity in the playoffs that you need. You remember, over the last few weeks, the Portland Trailblazers, they've been in playoff mode. They've been in game 7 after game 7 after game 7, and they've been having to win all of these games to be in this position. You could tell early on that the Lakers were a little bit out of rhythm, and the Blazers had the momentum, and they were playing and firing on all cylinders in the beginning of the game. And then as we got into the second quarter, in the middle of the game, in the third quarter, the Lakers made their run. They got back into the game, and the game at that point was even. But once we got to the fourth quarter, Clarence, let me break this down for you and give you these statistical numbers in the final 7 minutes after the Blazers went down by 6. I think Kyle Kuzma had hit a layup, and Damian Lillard was on the bench, and the Blazers was trailing by 6 points. These were the final 7 minutes. The Blazers outscored the Lakers 19-6. The Blazers from the field, shooting wise, they went 7 of 12 from the field. The Lakers went 3 of 14. The Blazers field goal percentage was 58%. The Lakers was 21%. From three-point range. The Blazers went 5 of 7 from three-point range. The Lakers went 0 of 6. And for the entire game, this is the stat of the night. This tells you everything that you need to know. The Blazers went 13 of 34 from three-point range. The Lakers went 5 of 32. So the Blazers were plus 24 and three-point scoring, and the Lakers had no shooters whatsoever. KCP, he was awful. Danny Green, he was terrible. So my question for you is, Clarence, as we go along in these playoffs and as these series start getting more and more interesting, where are the Lakers going to find their necessary shooting to get out of this series? One more thing for you. We've been talking about all year long the Western Conference Finals being the LA Clippers and the LA Lakers. And I told you a few weeks ago on the show, bro, that my Portland Trailblazers are here to crash the party. They're that person in the party that walks around dancing everywhere, getting in everybody's way, and you're like, man, get out of my way. I'm trying to dance with my lady. They're just in the way. That's what Portland is right now in these NBA playoffs in the bubble.
But to answer your question, though, the concerns about the Lakers' performance is they have to find the shooters, and they actually have to just rotate a lot of players into the rotation, like J.R. Smith and Dion Waiters. Them guys will have to step up and make big shots. For, LeBron is a system of his own, and their biggest strength is playing the paint down there. So once they play the paint, somebody close out and kick it out. Someone has to be ready for the shooting. And then another thing is too the guard defense. Like you have to rotate. You got to rotate playing when you defend against Damian Lillard and C.J. McCollum. You have to rotate your best defensive players on the team, like to stop them. And here's the thing: Damian Lillard is very impressive. First of all, but he's amazing during the pick and roll action, because either if you jump high, he can attack the basket, or you just sleeping, he's gonna hit the jump shot under the screen. So you have to make key adjustments against that type of play.
Yeah, and I want everybody to know too today, I don't have no Portland Trailblazers gear because Melo just got to Portland this year. I've always been a Damian Lillard fan, but now that I got Melo on the Portland Trailblazers with Damian Lillard and C.J. McCollum, it's just a match made in heaven. And I got my red and black on because we know the Portland Trailblazers colors are red, black, and white. So I got my Nike shirt on representing for the Portland Trailblazers. But I want to say this real quick. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Clarence, last night, he had 1 point, 1 rebound, 1 assist. I don't know why Kentavious Caldwell-Pope showed up to play. They might as well left him in his dorm room. I don't know what he was doing last night. He was god-awful. He had 1 more point than me and you last night. He was terrible. And then Danny Green, he had, 10 points, but he went 2 of 8 shooting from three-point range. He's very inconsistent shooting the three. I'm starting to wonder if Frank Vogel should possibly bring in J.R. Smith and Dion Waiters to give the Lakers some quality minutes, Clarence, because if Danny Green and KCP can't hit three-point shots, then they shouldn't be on the floor. At some point, you got to go to veteran players like a Dion Waiters and a J.R. Smith who is battle-tested and have had some nice moments in the playoffs. I'm talking about J.R. Smith, that is. Let me ask you a question. Do you think at some point Frank Vogel is going to have to turn to J.R. Smith and Dion Waiters and pull KCP and Danny Green?
I don't think you should pull them from the starting lineup or you should shorten their minutes. I think you have to understand what's the Portland Trailblazers game plan. They're obviously running small. They're literally playing a small ball against the LA Lakers. Do they feel like they're faster, they're quicker, they're athletic, and they're the best shooters. They're the better shooters. So my thing is this: you got to this guard play, and you got to guard play because you got bigs down there that can defend the paint. And from AD, he can guard. People always say he can guard guards. Like so, you maybe got to switch off. They got to take time guard like Dame and CJ McCollum and Melo. I feel like LeBron just got to play his true position and guard Melo. I just think it's just point blank. LeBron can't guard everybody on the team. That's what Danny Green is one of the best defensive players. KCP is a good defensive player, but he had a terrible performance last night. And honestly, I am missing Avery Bradley because he was another defender too. Like if Danny Green get out, here come Avery Bradley, or KCP get out, here come Avery Bradley. They can swap and rotate. And hell, believe it or not, if you got Danny Green and Avery Bradley on the same court, that's good. That's great.
Yeah. So you don't think they should pull them yet? Just yet?
Nah,
not yet.
I don't think they should pull them at all. I think they should come up with a game plan to like rotate those four players. Like if you play a small ball, like try to rotate it and mix it up. Like play the Portland Trailblazers game a little bit until you find that shot and that chance to like, okay, this is how we go through. And honestly, if you still got Braun on the court playing that small ball, they can possibly take advantage. AD playing the 5, LeBron playing the 4, Danny Green, Dion Waiters, J.R. Smith. Yeah, I think they should play a little small ball right there. Definitely.
Okay, now real quick, Clarence, but we got to start talking about the elephant in the room here because the problem is Anthony Davis. I got to call Anthony Davis out today on Wise Guys on the Worldwide Sports Network. Anthony Davis, in his career, we know he's a 7-time NBA All-Star, 3-time All-NBA first-team player. He has an NBA All-Star game MVP on his resume. He's a 24-point-per-game scorer, averaging 10 rebounds per game in his career. He also has 51% shooting from the floor. So he obviously is an efficient scorer. And we know Anthony Davis' talent warrants him to be in that top 10 NBA players, in the league right now. Overall, his talent warrants it. He only had 2 points in the fourth quarter, and that's unacceptable for a superstar, Clarence. LeBron needs more out of Anthony Davis if they want to have any chance of winning a championship. But here's the thing. Forget about winning the championship right now. Forget about the Western Conference. If you want to have any chance of beating my Portland Trailblazers, you need Anthony Davis to play at a much higher level, Clarence. Last night just wasn't enough. Anthony Davis last night, what did he go? 8 of 24 shooting from the floor. He went 0 of 5 from three-point range. He had 28 points because he got to the free throw line 17 times, made 12 of his free throws. But you need more from a 7-time All-Star. This is one of the best players we have in our league, Clarence. And I've been calling him out on Wise Guys for the last few weeks, and you've been listening to me. But now, last night, for what happened, that is unacceptable, Clarence. Come on now. 2 points. You need more from AD. And there's one more thing I want to say. LeBron James and Anthony Davis both had 4 missed free throws down the stretch in that game last night. In the final 7 minutes, LeBron went to the free throw line. He missed both of his free throws. AD went to the free throw line. He missed both of his free throw shots. So they both had key misses at the free throw strike in the fourth quarter. Those are points that you need in a playoff game going up against a high-scoring team like the Portland Trailblazers. So, but overall, when I look at the Lakers and their issues, I think LeBron, he has to score 35-plus for the Lakers to have a chance, Clarence. He really does. Like, he had 23 points, and he had 16 assists. I think in order for the Lakers to have a chance and be able to win this series, those 16 assists have to be traded off for an additional 10 to 15 more points because the Lakers don't have enough firepower to keep up with the Portland Trailblazers. Last night, I seen Gary Trent and Melo hit big key 3-point shots in the final 2 minutes. Key shots. These were key shots, Clarence, that the Blazers needed. So overall, I think the Portland Trail Blazers, they are playing with house money at this moment. And all the pressure is on the Lakers in game 2. You agree or disagree? If the Lakers go down 0-2, they in trouble.
You know, when you're down 0-2, you don't really come back from 0-2. So, but we just gonna leave it as that though. But you know, Trey, you say you still got Portland in 7, and I got LA in 6. And game 2 is tomorrow on TNT at 9 o'clock.
Not ESPN. It'll be on ESPN.
So ESPN, check it out on ESPN because
real quick, Clarence,
it's important.
It is real quick. I was gonna say if the Blazers win tomorrow, the Blazers might take the Lakers out in 6.
Man, I don't want to hear it, man.
Did you see what Charles Barkley said? Charles Barkley said that the Blazers are going to sweep the Lakers. He brought out the brooms live on. He brought out the brooms last night. Live on NBA on TNT.
No, we definitely better go to the definitely switch now. Huh? Charles is on drugs. I'm not paying that no attention.
Yeah.
Hey, let's go to the next one though. You know, let's talk on the East Coast now. You know, the number 8 seed, the Orlando Magic beat the number 1 seed Milwaukee Bucks 122-110. And you know the last time that 2 number 8 seeds beat 2 number 1 seeds, that was 2003 when the 8 seed Spurs beat the San Antonio Spurs when they were the number 1 seed. Around 8 Orlando Magic, I forgot who they played, and they beat them in game 1. So that's very impressive though. You know, Vucevic had 35 points, 14 rebounds, 5 and 8 shooting from the 3. Fultz had 15-6. Giannis dominating. He big dominated, but it wasn't enough. 31 points, 17 rebounds, 7 assists. And Chris Middleton, that's supposed to be a top 10 point player in the league, he only had 14 points and 6 rebounds. But Trey, what's the biggest takeaway from this series matchup?
The biggest takeaway for me was I think Chris Middleton was a complete no-show, Clarence. He was a no-show. 14 points is not going to get it done in a playoff matchup. Giannis needs a second co-star in order to be able to get the Milwaukee Bucks to where their goals are, and that's to win an NBA championship. And Chris Middleton yesterday, he really got completely outplayed by Markelle Fultz and Vucevic. Like Vucevic, he dropped 35 points, 14 rebounds. He hit 5 of 8 from 3-point range. He was unstoppable yesterday. The Milwaukee Bucks defensively, they had no answers for Vucevic, and I hope I pronounced his name right. But they had no answer for him. And Chris Middleton, he was a complete no-show. You know, Eric Bledsoe, he also didn't really show up and do much. When I look at the Milwaukee Bucks, Clarence, right. I told you already, I don't believe they're coming out the East. And yesterday, watching that game showed me why my prediction of them coming out the East is going to be right, because they don't have no consistent go-to player when Giannis is struggling. Whenever Giannis is struggling, Chris Middleton, at times he can have his moments where he has flashes and he scores the ball very well, but he's not very consistent. A head coach is not losing sleep over Chris Middleton. Like, I think you was riding that Chris Middleton train since we've been in the bubble because you want the Milwaukee Bucks to go to the finals so bad, and you want to be so right about this Milwaukee Bucks team. I'm sorry to tell you, Chris Middleton ain't it. He's not it. He's a great third option to a championship contender. He's not a great second option. As a matter of fact, he's a terrible second option on a championship contender. He's not a Kyrie Irving. He's not a Dwayne Wade. He's not that kind of player. I think yesterday showed us why the Milwaukee Bucks will not be in the NBA Finals. And I think the Orlando Magic, they showed us some things and they opened up our eyes to some of the Milwaukee Bucks' weaknesses overall. So I think Milwaukee's going to struggle in this series. I still think they're going to win the series overall, but they're not getting to the finals.
So hold on, let's go to our next question. Mr. Smarty Pants. So you believe the Milwaukee Bucks in trouble? Huh?
From the standpoint of them getting to the finals, they're in trouble. From the standpoint of them getting to the finals, they're in trouble. They'll beat the Orlando Magic. They'll beat the Magic, but they messed me up in my picks last night because I had the Milwaukee Bucks sweeping Orlando Magic. So they completely messed up my prediction. What did you have, Bucks in 5?
Yeah, I got Bucks in 5, man. Even though a lot of people say Bucks in 4, but think about it. Orlando Magic, they swept. They won game 1 against the Toronto Raptors last year. they always got to a hot start, but they start to cool down. So I think Milwaukee, they finna get into their groove, and they gotta play. Everybody got to touch the ball, at least score something, help the basket. Because Giannis can't score all the buckets for the team. But Chris Middleton, I agree with you. The biggest concern to me, like he has to step up as a number 2 player. You're paid as a superstar. Yeah. People don't realize that he's paid to be a superstar of this team. But think about it. If Giannis do leave, he's the number 1 option on that team. He's going to get treated like that, and which we believe he's not. But his contract says he's going to be turned into a number 1 if Giannis decides to move on. But as of right now, he is the number 2 option on that team that needs to step up. They need him to hit shots. He needs to be another scorer with Giannis.
Yeah, I agree with you, but the thing is, for the Milwaukee Bucks, like overall, they didn't shoot the ball particularly well from 3-point range. They shot 33%. They hit 14 threes, but they missed a lot of open 3-point shots that they normally hit. And, overall, they didn't even really do well at the free throw line either. The Orlando Magic, they went 18 of 19 from the free throw line. The Milwaukee Bucks went 18 of 28. You have to hit your free throws in the NBA playoffs in order to advance. So that's one of those stats that tell you the entire story of the game. Milwaukee missed 10 free throws. Orlando only missed 1. But just overall, I think the Orlando Magic, they surprised the Milwaukee Bucks yesterday, Clarence. I don't think Giannis and the Bucks were expecting that type of performance from the Orlando Magic. Because I certainly wasn't.
And people saying this though, Trey, Orlando Magic got the home court advantage because the bubble was in Orlando. So that probably can play a key point into that too, though, man. So we're gonna be on the lookout for tomorrow, game 2. We're gonna see how Giannis and them is gonna come back after this upset and loss, man. I hope they come back.
Yeah, let me ask you something. What kind of defensive adjustments do you think the Bucks need to make to slow down Vucevic?
I think they should build a wall against him because he's the only legitimate threat for the Orlando Magic. He's a nice scorer. I give you that. He's a nice scorer. He's a traditional old school guy. But when he's down in that paint, you just have to throw a extra body at him and double team him because he's that good in the paint. So slow him down and make them shoot. Even though they got good shooters on the team, but make them shoot and get the ball out of Vujicic's hand. And we always can't forget Terrence Ross. He's a streaky scorer. He had 22 points last night off the bench, so you got to watch out for those type of players that's breaking out scoring.
Okay, real quick, Clarence, before we move on, I got to call out your MVP, Giannis Antetokounmpo. He went 12 of 25 shooting from the floor, went 3 of 7 from 3-point range. He had 31 points, and he also had, what did he have? 17 rebounds. But do you know, in the final 11 minutes of this game, he went without a field goal? He didn't even hit a shot in the last 11 minutes. And this is the same person that you believe is better than the great Kevin Durant and LeBron James. This is amazing to me. You and other Bucks fans just amaze me. And it really amuses me how y'all believe Giannis is the best player in the NBA. And he can't even hit a shot over the last 11 minutes of an NBA playoff game? Huh?
A mental mistake. It's a mental mistake that he only scored 1 point in the fourth quarter. It's ridiculous because he didn't get the ball. But you got to give big credit to Orlando Magic keeping the ball out of his hand and double teaming him. And at the same time, he needs to have the ball in his hand in the fourth quarter. He needs to be the one to be scoring. He needs to be involved in every scoring play or scoring ability, whatever. Like you said, 1 point in the final 11 minutes, that's unacceptable. And I do say, yeah, he's one of the best players in the league because he's talented. He's a very talented player. He's a dominant player. He's probably one of the most dominant players in the NBA right now. He is one of the best. He is the best.
Oh, he is one of the best. That's not the argument. The argument is you said he's the best. And if we're judging him according to – hold on, Clarence. Hold on. If we judge him according to those best player in the world standards, I expect the best player in the world to score a field goal in the final 11 minutes of a playoff game. That's not
just one field goal. You need him to score multiple field goals if your team not answering. I agree. Like they lost 122 to 101. That was a bad blowout. That was a bad blowout because Mike Budenholzer, he's a great coach, and I give you that. And he knows the difference the game plays in and out on the court. So he needs to make some adjustments on the team. And Giannis, if the three ball not hitting, you know what you do best. Go to the basket, baby.
Yeah. Let's switch to some NFL, Clarence. We'll come back to our NBA, games from yesterday here in a bit. Let's talk about Brett Favre. Brett Favre, he recently was talking, and he talked about Aaron Rodgers and the situation that's going on right now in Green Bay. And I quote Brett Favre. He said, Rodgers isn't threatened by someone else taking his job. So we all know what's going on right now in Green Bay. The Green Bay Packers, my Packers, selected Jordan Love with their first pick in the 2020 NFL draft. They moved up to select Jordan Love. And so everybody's talking about Jordan Love being Aaron Rodgers' replacement in Green Bay. So my question for you is, should Aaron Rodgers feel threatened by Jordan Love?
Yes. He should.
What?
He should feel threatened by Jordan Love. Let me tell you this. I know I'm probably about to piss you off or any Green Bay fans, but listen to me though. Let's be realistic. When a new coach come in town, he wants to build his own team. But he has to face adversity, culture, awareness, the fan base, even the office, because the Green Bay Packers is a traditional organization. They go by their own traditional rules. But his word, his say-so matters as well. So when they use that first pick to pick Jordan Love, they know that this is their next franchise quarterback. And Aaron Rodgers, he has a small window to perform and show that he want to retire here, or he wants to like fan off a new trade partner. But think about it, Trey. They did the same thing for Brett Favre. It took 3 years for Aaron Rodgers to get on the field. It might take 3 years for Jordan Love to get on the field. So in them 3 years, if they're not successful or not even close of being successful, Aaron Rodgers might be on the road. He might be on the edge right there. That's what people don't understand. He's a talented quarterback. Don't get me. But business is business. Business is business, right? And I ain't even get to this part yet. Now, if Matt LaFleur feel more comfortable and he's eager to get Jordan Love on the field, then they might make some big plans. Might want to trade off Aaron Rodgers for a few picks for some Super Bowl contending teams, and they go from there. Think about it. Phillip Rivers got 1 year left. Think about it. Phillip Rivers got 1 year left with the Colts. If he don't perform, it might be a possibility that the Indianapolis Colts might be on the market looking for another quarterback because they feel like they in Super Bowl contending. Think about it. I'm just saying. I give you another team. Okay. The Dallas Cowboys. If they don't get the deal done for Dak Prescott and they feel like Andy Dalton is the true backup, they can be on the road to get Aaron Rodgers. Hey, reunite with Mike McCarthy and Dallas Cowboys and with Ezekiel Elliott. That's very impressive. But you just gotta have an open mind though. But yes, he should feel threatened that Jordan Love entered Green Bay Packer organization. Green Bay, Wisconsin, cheeseheads looking at their new franchise quarterback. And you are too, Mr. Trey Larkins.
You done yet?
Oh, yeah, I'm done.
Are you done? Okay, because I'm about to tell Jordan. By the way, everybody, if y'all don't know who Jordan is our business manager. And we love Jordan. Shout out to Jordan. She's our business manager. I'm going to tell Jordan to ban you from talking football. Seriously, I'm going to tell her to ban you from talking football. Last week, you disgusted me last week when you said the Dallas Cowboys drafting CeeDee Lamb is comparable to the Golden State Warriors bringing in Kevin Durant in free agency. You agree with Mike Worth? Yeah, you agree with Mike Worth. You annoyed me last week when I had to discuss that with you. That was annoying to me because I already know Michael Irvin, he's wearing his Dallas Cowboy pom-poms. He's a Dallas Cowboys fan because he played for that franchise. At least I can give him an excuse. I didn't know what excuse to give you when you compared them drafting CeeDee Lamb to the Warriors bringing in an all-time great Kevin Durant. But nevertheless, here we go again. I'm about to also ban you from being able to talk Packer football because the great Aaron Rodgers shouldn't feel threatened because of Jordan Love. Do you know over the last 2 years, Aaron Rodgers has 51 touchdowns, just 6 interceptions, and for his career clearance, he has 364 career touchdown passes to just 84 interceptions. He has the best touchdown to interception ratio of all time. He's thrown for close to 47,000 passing yards with 65 completion percentage in his career. He's won multiple division titles being the quarterback for the Green Bay Packers. He's a two-time NFL MVP. He's a Super Bowl champion and a Super Bowl MVP. Aaron Rodgers is the face of the Green Bay Packers, and he shouldn't feel threatened about Jordan Love. Aaron Rodgers, from a talent perspective, is the most talented quarterback we have ever seen. We got Patrick Mahomes on the scene now. I want to see Patrick Mahomes put together a body of work like the great Aaron Rodgers. I am tired of people like you, Clarence, and other haters out there acting like Aaron Rodgers doesn't have it anymore. It is really bothering me, and it's really irritating me because what are your eyes showing you? Last year, Clarence, in a down year, he had 26 touchdowns, just 4 interceptions, just 4. And he threw for over 4,000 passing yards, completed 62% of his passes. And that was a down year, my friend. Here's the thing. The Green Bay Packers, they have not shown Aaron Rodgers the appreciation that they should have. My issue with them overall as an organization, you could have selected a ton of receivers. This was a draft, Clarence, that had a bunch of receivers to choose from. So many receivers. And I'll be honest with you, I was jealous. I can't believe I'm saying that. But I was jealous of the Bengals selecting T. Higgins. I wanted T. Higgins. I wanted us to get T. Higgins. Yes, I did. And they selected Jordan Love. You, my friend, along with a lot of other media members, and apparently the Green Bay Packers, too, have forgotten the greatness of Aaron Rodgers. He has carried the Green Bay Packers franchise. If it wasn't for Aaron Rodgers, we wouldn't have been in all those playoff battles that we were in, Clarence. Aaron Rodgers had us in those positions. And guess what? When we got to those positions in those playoff games, we didn't lose we lost because of our defense. Defensively, we couldn't get any stops. I watched the game against Arizona Cardinals early in Aaron Rodgers' playoff career. Aaron Rodgers put up 45 points. The defense gave up 51. I also watched the playoff game in the NFC Championship game in 2016 against Matty Ice, where Aaron Rodgers and the Packers got beat down in the NFC Championship game, Clarence. Julio Jones was slugging Packer defenders around like ragdolls. It was hard to watch. And then I watched last year, the 49ers dropped 37 on my Packers. I am tired of you and other media members pretending as if Aaron Rodgers isn't still great. His resume speaks for itself, and he still is a top 5 NFL quarterback as far as I'm concerned.
Think about it. Aaron Rodgers wasn't the driving force of last year when they went 13-3. It wasn't him. It was the other Aaron Jones, that was the driving force of the Packers being successful. And for Aaron Rodgers, he knows this is a business. He knows possibly in the next 2 or 3 years, if he don't at least bring them a Super Bowl in the next 3 years, that his days in Green Bay is actually outnumbered. I don't believe that he's going to stay there for another 4 or 5 years. I don't believe that at all. I don't believe it. I believe that the Green Bay Packers are moving in a new direction, and they're giving Aaron Rodgers a time limit to give them something to make them think, yes, he can be here for another 3 or 4 years. But 4 or 5 years, excuse me. But I truly believe he got a 2 or 3 year window to get it together. Last time he made the Super Bowl was 2009. That is a long time, my friend. At 11 years.
But he's been in the NFC Championship game since then, Clarence.
No, I mean 12 years. It's been 12, I think, 2008, I think. But it's been a decade since he won a Super Bowl.
We won the Super Bowl in 2010.
There you go, 10 years ago. But look, it's him and Drew Brees. They're all respected quarterbacks. They really are.
Aaron Rodgers better than Drew Brees, Clarence. And not only that, he better than Tom Brady too. But what I'm saying to you is, Aaron Rodgers, it wasn't his fault why we didn't get back to the Super Bowl. He has put us in position to get back to the Super Bowl, Clarence. Like, they gave up 37 points last year to the San Francisco 49ers. And guess what? Jimmy G only dropped back the pass 8 times. How is that Aaron Rodgers' fault? Can you tell me? How's it his fault? And I just mentioned earlier in his postseason career, they gave up 37 points to the Arizona Cardinals. And then in the 2016 NFC Championship game, they gave up a ton of points to Matty Ice in the Atlanta Falcons. It's never been Aaron Rodgers' fault. The Green Bay Packers organization should be ashamed of themselves for how they have not put around a team around Aaron Rodgers the right way. They haven't done it, Clarence. They have not done it. I hate it. Like, I really hate the fact that Aaron has been a part of our franchise and only has one Super Bowl championship. It's really a travesty if Aaron only retires with one Super Bowl championship. With all that talent that he has, he should have at least two rings, at least.
Underachieved. If he retire one Super Bowl, he's underachieved because the way how you claim him out, he's one of the greatest, most skilled quarterbacks in the NFL league. And if he only just retire with one Super Bowl, he's underachieved. That's just point blank.
But it's not his fault. It's not his fault. But let's talk about that because he was on the Kyle Brandt show and he had a quote talking about Super Bowl championships. He said, quote, "I got one. That's more than some people, more than some great ones." So you already kind of alluded to it. Elaborate more. Will Aaron Rodgers' career be a disappointment without a second Super Bowl ring?
Yes, I truly believe it. I think this one Super Bowl it helps solidify who is Aaron Rodgers. I give you that. That actually helped him make his name. You know, the discount double check, the bang bang, the side throws. That's who made Aaron Rodgers in that first Super Bowl because he had a great performance in that Super Bowl. I will give you that, Trey. And I was actually rooting for the Green Bay Packers because I never go root for the Steelers in the Super Bowl. So I give you that. But I just think when you have Aaron Rodgers, it's not his fault, and it's a team game, and they didn't have the successful building a team around him enough to solidify his talent, and I think it make it more difficult when you only have one legit receiver, a decent tight end, and a decent running back. This before Aaron Jones. Like, I think you just don't have a complete team. You got one of the best offensive linemen, like best O-line in the league, that they can protect you until they play a elite D-line. But I just feel like they didn't surround him enough. And that's why I say if he has a 2 or 3 year window in Green Bay, if he don't get the job done in Green Bay, he's gonna be on the market like Brady was. And hell, if Breeze don't get the job done in New Orleans, he might be on the market. But for Aaron Rodgers, if he don't win another Super Bowl, you cannot mention him in the top 5 quarterbacks of all time ever to me, Trey.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Here's the thing. If he doesn't win another Super Bowl ring, his career will be a disappointment, but it won't be his fault. It will not be his fault, Clarence. It will be the Packers organization. I will put all the blame on the Packers organization and Mark Murphy. That's what I'll put the blame on here. Because when you look at when he won a Super Bowl back in 2010, who did he have on that team? He had Clay Matthews. He had Charles Woodson. He had Trayvon Williams. He had some nice defensive pieces in order for the Packers to get stops. He had some players on their – I'm sorry?
They had a good offense too.
They had a great offense because of Aaron Rodgers. But what I'm saying is defensively they had some studs on that side of the ball. And since then, they haven't had studs on that side of the ball. They haven't had no great players defensively for Aaron Rodgers. Like Clay Matthews, he was great on defense, but he always got injured, and he wasn't necessarily ever available, even on the offensive side of the ball. I've seen playoff games where Randall Cobb has gotten injured, and Jordy Nelson one year, he got injured for the season. He wasn't there for Aaron Rodgers. So everywhere you look, the Packers organization, they have not put the pieces around Aaron Rodgers to get back to the Super Bowl. And he had a solid chance to get back in the 2014 NFC Championship game against the Seahawks. All they had to do, Clarence, was get an onside kick. All they had to do was recover the onside kick. And Brandon Bostic, I'll never forget it. I remember like it was yesterday, Clarence. Brandon Bostic wanted to be the hero. He wanted to try to jump up and get the onside kick, and he missed it. And we all went on to overtime, and Russell Wilson delivered a dart in the end zone for the game-winning touchdown. And we know the rest of that story, how that season ended, because they didn't hand the ball off the beast mode, and they ended up granting Tom Brady another Super Bowl championship. But I think when it comes to Super Bowls, Tom Brady and Joe Montana, they have completely changed our perspective on Super Bowls because it's hard to win in the NFL. So Brady got 6. I think Montana got 5, I believe. And, these other quarterbacks like Peyton okay, we got 4, okay. But they have completely changed our opinion about Super Bowls because they've won so much. We expect quarterbacks that are great to win Super Bowl championships. And it's just simply not that easy. It's so many things that have to go your way. It's so many moving parts that have to be in place for you to win a championship.
Definitely.
But let's move on though.
Definitely. Let's move on. Everybody, if y'all watching Wise Guys on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network, and make sure y'all follow us on all social media platforms. All right, let's move on, Trey. Let's turn back into some basketball, baby. So, earlier in a few weeks ago, the New Orleans Pelicans, they fired Alvin Gentry. And to be honest, I wasn't surprised at all that they didn't fire him though. But I want to ask you though, who should the Pelicans hire as their next coach for next season? Give me your best options.
I would say they should hire Ty Lue. I think Ty Lue would be the best option for the New Orleans Pelicans because I think Ty Lue is that kind of coach that can relate to the young players on that team. Whichever coach you bring in, they have to have a good relationship with Zion Williamson and Brandon Ingram. So I think that's the key. You want to bring in a coach that can relate to the young players. You know what I mean? Like, that's the most important thing here. Like, in basketball, you want to have a coach that can have a good relationship with your star players. And I think it's important for them to bring in the type of coach that's young and can relate to the young players, and they can communicate effectively for the New Orleans Pelicans to be able to win basketball games next year and turn into a legitimate contender. This is a young team, Clarence, that's on the come up. I like Lonzo Ball at the point guard spot. If he can learn how to be able to be more assertive and hit perimeter shots, I love him as a passer. He's one of the best passers we have in the NBA. Brandon Ingram, in my opinion, deserves NBA Most Improved Player because he's been putting on a show this year for the New Orleans Pelicans, and he's been playing great basketball. I think getting away from LeBron James helped Brandon Ingram because he has the ball in his hands more this year, and Alvin Gentry put him in a position to make plays. We know Zion Williamson has tremendous upside. He has great potential. I think whatever coach that you bring in, they also have to challenge Zion Williamson to lose some weight because he's too heavy right now, Clarence. He has to lose some weight. And right now, where we're at in the NBA with this up-tempo style, you have to slim down in order to keep pace. The game is fast. It's at a fast pace, and you have to be at a slim weight and not be so heavy. I think there were times this year where I watched Zion Williamson, all that weight took its toll on him. I think whichever coach that you bring in, they have to challenge Zion to lose some weight, and that's going to help the New Orleans Pelicans organization overall because it's going to help them win basketball games, and he's going to be available to play more as well if he loses weight because he'll be in shape.
Yeah, I like that. I like that response. You got Tyronn Lue.
Ty Lue, yeah.
Yeah, I think the best coach should go to that position should be Jason Kidd because I feel like he knows how to unlock that secret weapon out of these players. Like, I give you an example. When he was the coach for the Milwaukee Bucks, I was salty that they fired him because when he found out what Giannis can do, he made a game plan, put the ball in Giannis' ball, let him bring it up, let him be control of the team. And believe it or not, he took off from that. And him and Jason Kidd, him and Giannis had a great relationship. They had a great relationship. Actually, Giannis was mad for the simple fact that he got fired because they was building a relationship and he looked at him as his best friend. And yeah, I think for Jason Kidd, he would be a perfect fit for them because he can help Lonzo make all these players his best friend, help improve his game more. I think Lonzo is a good point guard, Trey. I believe it. He has the size and advantage. He can play defense. The ability to pass the ball is out the roof. And I think when Jason Kidd get a point guard like that, he can do a lot of things with it. And for Zion, if he want to put the ball in Zion's hands, he can make Zion get the ball in his hands and have specific plays for him. But in order for that to happen, Zion do have to lose a couple pounds to move a little faster and get stronger. But
Yeah.
I think for Jason Kidd, if you put him around a lot of young guys, he's gonna unlock something out of them. And Brandon Ingram, he can probably help get him more comfortable with his shot. But I think Jason Kidd would be the perfect coach for them.
Yeah, I also thought Ty Lue got a raw deal when he was with the Cleveland Cavaliers, Clarence. I didn't like the fact that the Cavs moved on from Ty Lue. You know, Ty Lue, as a head coach, he's 128 and 83. He's won 61% of his games as a head coach. That's mostly been with LeBron James, but I thought he should have had an opportunity to go through that rebuild process with the Cleveland Cavaliers. We knew once LeBron James left the Cleveland Cavaliers, they were in rebuilding mode. That's just the way it is. And I didn't like the fact that David Griffin, well, it might not be David Griffin. He might have already left Cleveland. It wasn't David Griffin, but Dan Gilbert, rather, he's the owner of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Yeah. I didn't like how I think the general manager for the Cleveland Cavaliers is Kobe Altman. I didn't like the fact that they end up canning Ty Lue. I think Ty Lue got a raw deal. I think he should have had an opportunity to coach those young players in Cleveland and Sexton and Kevin Love still too. If he was ever available to play, I think Ty Lue got a raw deal. They should have gave him more of a chance to coach that young squad. He won 61% of his games. And I just think they kind of gave him a raw deal overall. I think they should have gave him another shot. But I think he'll do well with this New Orleans Pelicans roster. And I think he can be a coach that can help this team get to the next level. But like I said, the main thing for me is I need to see Zion Williamson lose some weight this offseason, Clarence. He has to.
Quick question before we go to the next topic. What expectation do you have for Zion this offseason?
He has to lose some weight. He should be on the phone right now with Charles Barkley. I think Charles Barkley, he said at one point in his career, Moses Malone flat out told him, "You too fat. You too fat. You weigh too much." I think if Zion Williamson can shed a few pounds, I think we'll see more production from Zion Williamson. When I was watching the Pelicans in the bubble, Clarence, in the few games that Zion played, felt like he kind of like, did you get that feeling too? Like I kind of felt like Zion he didn't play with that motor, like he energy that I was expecting him to have. And I think that's because he weighs too much. He has to lose some weight. Therefore, he can get up and down the court at a much faster pace. I'm expecting him to see. Therefore, it's going to help the New Orleans Pelicans win basketball games next year and be a legitimate contender for the.
Definitely. All right, Trey, let's move on real quick. So this next topic is hilarious with me. Sneaking in Seattle. Seattle, they cut their rookie quarterback, Kamal Silverhand, because he tried to sneak a woman at disguise as in Seattle gear or hotel. And Russell Wilson said last week, he said the Seahawks should treat every quarter like the fourth quarter. Oh, my bad. He was disguised. My bad. Apologize. I was going too fast because it was so funny. So, you know, rookie Kamal Silver trying to sneak a woman in disguise. What do you make of that situation?
Honestly, Clarence, to be honest, this is one of those situations where if there was ever a situation where I understand, this would be it. Because you got to understand, these NFL players and these NBA players in general, they're making a huge sacrifice right now. A huge sacrifice. One, I'm not so sure that the average man would be able to make. I know I wouldn't be able to make it. And I understand that the Seattle Seahawks and Pete Carroll, they have to send a message so they can, you know, show everyone that this is something that can't be taken lightly. Like, this is a big deal. But if there was ever a situation where I understand what this brother was going through, this would be it. If there was ever a situation where I thought a rookie deserves a second chance, this would be it, Clarence, because these players, they have a certain lifestyle that they're accustomed to. When you're an athlete, you have a certain lifestyle that you used to, and you have access to certain things. And when you take that away from a particular player, some players, Clarence, and some people in general, they can't handle it. They cannot handle it. Clearly, Kemon Silverland, he couldn't handle it. And it is funny that he snuck in a woman disguised as Seahawks gear. That's the most funniest part than anything about the story. Like, he tried to sneak her in. Listen, I understand where he's coming from. I hate the fact that he had to be made out of an example because he's a rookie, and I'm excited for him to get a chance to play in the NFL. But if there was ever a time where I understand your shortcomings and I can relate, this would be it right here.
Yeah, I think it was hilarious, and I think his hormones was jumping out the roof, Trey. So
you think?
Yeah, rookie made a bad mistake because it cost him his playing time, and now he got to get cut and look for a new team. But I think that this is just a lesson learned for the Seattle Seahawks players. Like, don't try to sneak no girl in, especially into private hotels, and everybody is making a sacrifice to make sure y'all can play football. But it's sad that he had to get cut, but it's business in the NFL, man.
But Clarence, if there is no man alive that would fault Kemon Silverman here. There's no man alive. Any man that is a grown adult would not fault this man. I would give him an opportunity, Clarence, to play for my team.
Look,
I would.
I can't be away from my girl, man. Like, if I'm a football player, hey, what you doing? This ain't enough. Can you come over or whatever? But the point is that, yeah, his hormones was jumping too much, and he did his best trying to sneak her in, but unfortunately, he had to pay for it. But it's just sad, man.
Listen, the bottom line is, I understand why the Seahawks released him. They have to send a message to the rest of the team that this cannot be taken lightly. This is a serious issue that we're dealing with. We don't want to have a coronavirus spread throughout our team. I get it. But like I said, if there was ever a situation where I understand where this young man is coming from, this would be it. I think he deserves a second chance, Clarence. So I hope one of those other 31 other teams reach out to my man, Kemon Silverman, because I don't think there was any ill intent here. There wasn't no malintent. I don't think he is a person that I would say is a bad character player. I wouldn't categorize him to be someone who has character issues. None of that. This was just a situation where a man has his needs and women have their needs as well, Clarence. Let's be honest.
Yeah. Let's move on to the next part of the question. Russell Wilson said last week that the Seahawks should treat every quarter like the fourth quarter. So do you believe he was taking a shot at the Seattle Seahawks coaching staff with these comments?
I would say so because, basically I believe over the last 2 or 3 years, Clarence, I believe Russell Wilson has had to bail out the Seattle Seahawks in games multiple times. Like, I've seen some games where the Seattle Seahawks, for whatever reason, they continuously want to run the football. They have not adapted to the new age in the NFL. We are at a time now in the NFL where it's a passing league. And for whatever reason, Pete Carroll and the Seahawks coaching staff, they want to run the football. And that's the issue for me. I think Russell Wilson feels like, hey, I put us in positions to win football games late. Can you help me so I don't have to always rescue us late in games? Can you help me be in a better position so I don't have to always rescue us in the fourth quarter? Because if you notice, Russell Wilson always makes those clutch throws late in games that put the Seahawks in position to win football games. Last year for the season, he had 31 touchdowns, just 5 interceptions, threw for over 4,000 passing yards. And even in the playoff game where they lost to my Packers, I was nervous in that game, Clarence. I was nervous watching that game because I said, I know Russell Wilson is going to make a run here in the second half and get the Seahawks back into this football game. It was far from over. A bunch of Packer fans was on social media talking about, we won the game. We won. It's at halftime. The game is over. I said, Russell Wilson is about to strike in the second half, and we have to try to maintain this lead. But overall, I think it was a shot taken at the Seattle Seahawks coaching staff and Pete Carroll because I think Russell Wilson doesn't want to have to continue to rescue the Seattle Seahawks late in games overall.
Yeah, man. Another thing is everybody have to stay healthy.
Like, everybody has been injured throughout the whole season of last year, and that plays a key part to it. Best availability is availability, and knowing Russell Wilson, he never missed a game since 2012. That shows you that he's durable and he's been taking care of his body, but everyone else needs to start taking care of their body too. Like, they play a key part into it. And like you said, they can't keep depending on Russell Wilson to keep leading them, even though he's the quarterback and he should lead them, but he needs help. And the only way he's going to get help is everybody stay healthy. Everyone has to stay healthy in order for them to be successful. And I think this is true that he throwing a shot at the coaching staff, because they need to go into their playbook and make some new adjustments. They don't want to keep just like going through the same traditional playbook and nothing. Russell Wilson wants to win, and he been out the playoffs. He been getting bumped out the playoffs these last 2 years, man. So in order for them to play better, everybody got to stay healthy and dig into that playbook.
Yeah, and then here's the thing to keep in mind, Clarence. Pete Carroll and that Seattle Seahawks coaching staff, they already cost Russell Wilson a second Super Bowl championship because they didn't hand the ball out to Marshawn Lynch and that Super Bowl against Tom Brady and the New England Patriots. The least you could do is put some pieces around him so he doesn't have to always come to the rescue. Too many times I've seen Seahawks games, and I'm watching these games, and Russell Wilson always has to carry them in the fourth quarter. He's capable of doing it, but I'm pretty sure he's getting tired of having to rescue them late in games. It's just like someone in a relationship. When you feel underappreciated and you voice that to your partner, if they don't do the necessary things to make you feel better, you're going to leave that relationship. This is Russell Wilson putting the Seattle Seahawks on notice. Hey, I'm tired of always having to come through for us late in games. Let me throw the ball around the yard in the first and second quarter. Therefore, I don't have to rescue us late in the fourth quarter. Russell Wilson is the top 2 quarterback in the NFL. After Patrick Mahomes, I think Russell Wilson is the second best quarterback in the league. I know last year Lamar Jackson won NFL MVP. I know Deshaun Watson got his team to the postseason. But I think Russell Wilson is the second best quarterback in the NFL, and I think that he's sending a message to that Seattle Seahawks coaching staff and Pete Carroll.
Definitely. But it was a great show today, Trey, man. Great show.
Everybody remember going follow Wise Guys on Twitter at WiseGuys_H. Also on Facebook, Wise Guys. And be sure to follow Wise Guys on Instagram at These Guys Know Sports. We're live here on the Worldwide Sports Network. We'll be back live on Friday, talking all the latest in sports news, NBA playoffs, expectations for Burrows, Bengals, so much more. Clarence, anything else you want to finish up with?
Man, it's still more NBA playoffs, so we might as well hurry up and get tuned into that, Trey.
Yes, sir, definitely. Everybody have a great night. See you Friday.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.